Welcome to this exam guide. I'm your master coach, and today we are looking at the absolute critical difference between settling for a B grade and unlocking that highly coveted A star in your Cambridge Afrikaans Language AS level. Specifically, we are diving deep into Syllabus Area 065 Travel and Tourism, focusing on the modern phenomenon of global travel and the friction it inevitably causes with local populations. Now, before we even start, I need you to understand the stakes here. I've spent years analyzing real Cambridge Examiner reports, and I know exactly where candidates bleed marks on high-tariff questions, those massive 9 to 15-mark essay questions that make or break your final grade. Most students completely miss the hidden constraints of the prompt. Today, we are going to act as elite curriculum architects. We are going to decode the exact theoretical architecture and strategic blueprint you need to stop losing those crucial marks. By the end of this masterclass, you will know how to dissect complex questions, master your time allocation, deploy advanced critical thinking strategies, and analyze peer problem solving just like an examiner. Here is our exact roadmap for today. We'll start with core principles, move into technical methodology, then critical analysis, followed by examiner warnings, and we will finish with a winning exam strategy. We're moving fast, so stay focused. Let's get straight into Section 1. Core principles and building your theoretical architecture.
To truly master the friction between modern tourism and local communities, which you'll reference in your exams using the specific syllabus vocabulary, you cannot just memorize random statistics about tourists. We need to look at the anatomy of Cambridge, command words. This is where the magic happens. You have to master 3 distinct cognitive domains, known as your assessment objectives. AO1 is knowledge and understanding. AO2 is analysis, and AO3 is evaluation. Let's deeply contrast some command words right now. If a question asks you to analyze, it is asking for AO2. You need to break down the infrastructure failure caused by tourism into its component parts. But if the command word is evaluate, that triggers AO3. You are now required to weigh up the long-term cultural impact against the short-term economic gains and make a final justified judgment. Similarly, explain just wants a clear description of a process, whereas to what extent demands a nuanced argument showing the limits of that process. To unlock the highest mark bands, you have to precisely isolate the command word, identify the content knowledge required, and adhere to the hidden constraints of the prompt. Your brain literally has to operate across all 3 of these domains simultaneously.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how different types of students approach it. Let me introduce you to 2 archetypal scholars to show you what I mean. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Alex is highly technical. He excels at formulas, statistics, and concrete facts, but he struggles heavily with open-ended evaluation. Sam, on the other hand, is a creative thinker. She's incredibly strong at forming arguments and seeing the big picture, but she completely lacks structural precision and timing. When an average student like Alex looks at a topic like travel and tourism, he relies on isolated topic facts. He just lists data. But an A-star candidate integrates cross-topic connections and causal relationships. The principal examiner reports explicitly state that candidates who connect the dots, for example linking the economic benefits of a new tourist resort to environmental degradation and subsequent social unrest, score significantly higher. It's not just about what you know, it's about how you connect what you know. That brings us to Section 2, Technical Methodology and how to secure those vital process marks. Imagine Alex and Sam sitting in a digital study suite, working collaboratively on a massive, complex question about tourism friction. They start debating the essay layout. Alex immediately pushes for a purely factual approach. He says, look, we need to extract the exact property price increases from the text and just state them. That's our AO1. But Sam argues for a broader, conceptual perspective. She says, no, Alex, the command word is evaluate. We need to interpret the relationship between those rising prices and the displacement of the local population. This is the exact debate you need to have in your own head during the exam. You have to extract the data from texts and tables, yes, but then you must interpret those relationships. How does the data connect to the lived experience of the locals? From there, you have to apply the correct formats and specific Afrikaans terminology to evaluate the overall performance of the tourism sector. You must balance Alex's factual precision with Sam's conceptual analysis to hit all 3 assessment objectives. Before we get into how Alex and Sam actually solve their structural debate, I want to pause our session for a quick second. If you are serious about mastering these high-level Cambridge strategies and you want a weekly breakthrough to guarantee your target grade, you need to subscribe to the channel Ace the Exam's IGCSE, O, and A levels at the handle @acetheexam_IGCE. Hit that subscribe button right now and make sure you enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so you never miss a single exam hack. Okay, let's get back to it. Our two scholars, Alex and Sam, are actively drafting their model response on screen, paragraph by paragraph. But suddenly, they hit a major roadblock. They've got great facts and they've got a great argument, but their paragraph linking is a mess and they are bleeding time. This is where the method mark strategy comes in. Examiners actively look to award marks for the analytical process itself. Even if your final conclusion isn't perfect, if your process of linking evidence to an argument is visible, you get the method marks. I told Alex and Sam to stop staring at the blank page and instead verbally explain how fact A leads to outcome B. The moment they verbalized the causal link, the paragraph practically wrote itself.
Let's move to Section 3, Critical Analysis. This is where you develop the evaluative edge that guarantees top marks.
I want to turn this into a bit of a visual workshop right now. Think about this question. Why do students find evaluating evidence and drawing conclusions so incredibly difficult? We're going to do a quick pause and practice exercise. Imagine a complex chart in front of you, showing a massive spike in short-term tourist rentals alongside a sharp drop in local housing availability. I want you to start a 60-second countdown in your head. What is the most obvious conclusion? The obvious conclusion is that tourists are stealing local homes. But is that high-level evaluation? Absolutely not. Evaluation forces you to stop just reporting what the data says and start judging the quality and context of that data. The reason students find this hard is because it requires cognitive friction. You have to actively fight the urge to just summarize.
To evaluate like a master examiner, you need to use this 4-pillar framework. First, identify limitations in the source material. Maybe that housing chart we just imagined only looked at one specific affluent neighborhood, not the whole city. Second, spot the assumptions made by the author. Is the author assuming that all short-term rentals are owned by foreigners rather than locals trying to make extra income? Third, you must provide alternative interpretations. Could the housing shortage actually be due to a lack of government zoning laws rather than just the influx of tourists? And finally, state the effect on your conclusions. By systematically dissecting the evidence this way, you show the examiner that you aren't just blindly accepting the text, you are interrogating it. This is exactly how you transition a mediocre, descriptive answer into a flawless, full-mark response that absolutely dominates the AO3 evaluation criteria.
Let's transition to Section 4, Examiner Warnings. We need to look exactly at where candidates are losing marks. For our second interactive workshop scene, we are going to play Spot the Flaw. I want you to imagine a poorly written student answer right now. The student writes, "The tourism made the culture bad because the locals sold out." Can you spot the errors there? Let's dissect the traps set by examiners. The Principal Examiner Report explicitly states that candidates consistently confuse key terminology in extended responses. The phrase "made the culture bad" is completely unacademic. The student is missing the specific syllabus terminology for cultural commodification. The phrase "sold out" is colloquial and subjective. In the Cambridge Afrikaans syllabus, precision is non-negotiable. If you use generic language to describe a complex modern phenomenon, the examiner immediately drops you into a lower mark band because you are failing the knowledge and understanding requirement. You have to speak the language of the syllabus.
So how do we fix that flaw? The best practice rule is absolutely crucial. Always define your terms before you use them in your extended responses. If you are going to argue that a modern phenomenon is causing friction, you must first establish exactly what that phenomenon is in the context of your specific case study. Is it ecotourism? Is it mass cruise ship tourism? Is it volunteer tourism? Define it clearly in your introductory phase. This anchors your entire essay. It proves your theoretical architecture is rock solid, and it prevents you from sliding into vague, generalized arguments that examiners absolutely hate to read.
Let's finalize this workshop by revealing the top 3 lethal mistakes you must avoid. Number 1, confusing cause and effect. Do not say that local resentment caused the tourism boom. The tourism boom and the strain on resources caused the resentment. Get your causal arrows pointing in the right direction. Number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. If the command prompt asks you to write a persuasive article for a local newspaper about tourism friction, and you write a standard academic essay, you will lose massive format marks, regardless of how good your points are. Number 3, providing answers not specific to the context given. If the source material is about a tiny rural mountain village, Do not bring in generic arguments about overcrowded beaches in global megacities. You must tether every single piece of your analysis directly to the exact context provided in the source text.
Finally, we reach Section 5, your winning exam strategy and the complete 6-step execution. I am going to synthesize this entire masterclass into a bulletproof procedural framework you can use on exam day. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. This is your 3-step question scan. Isolate the command word, identify the topic constraints, and note the mark allocation. Step 2. Extract the relevant data from the texts. Step 3. Select your analytical framework. Are you looking at economic, social, or environmental impacts? Step 4. Execute with clear notation. This is where you use the paragraph balance formula. 1 part data, 2 parts analysis, 1 part evaluation. Step 5. Verify your results. Have you actually answered the specific question asked? Step 6. Present with correct terminology. This ties into your last 5 minutes review checklist, where you scan your entire response specifically to upgrade generic words into elite syllabus terminology.
At the end of our digital study session, Alex and Sam both had massive personal breakthroughs. Alex realized he didn't just have to list facts. He could use this sequence to safely structure the evaluation he was so afraid of. Sam realized she could finally control her chaotic creative arguments by forcing them through this exact step-by-step funnel. To make sure you don't freeze under exam pressure like they almost did, you need a memory hack. Take the letters DESEVP, deconstruct, extract, select, execute, verify, present, and create your own memorable mnemonic. Write it at the top of your rough working paper the absolute second the examiner says you may begin. It will serve as your anchor when the adrenaline kicks in.
You are no longer in the dark. You now possess the examiner's exact blueprint. You know how to read command words, you know how to balance facts with conceptual analysis, and you know exactly where the hidden traps are. The only question left is, how will you deploy this 6-step strategy to secure your A-star? Crushing Cambridge exams doesn't happen by accident. It requires consistent, ruthless strategy. So your immediate action steps are simple. First, hit the subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at the handle @AceTheExam IGCSE. Second, turn on the notification bell so you get every future exam hack the second it drops. And finally, I want you to go down to the comments right now and type your exact target grade to lock in that commitment. Practice this methodology on a past paper today, and I will see you in the next masterclass.